I'm Robbie London. I was one of the executive producers on Sonic Underground, and I also wrote the title song, which is an accomplishment of particular pride for me. We felt we needed a completely new approach, and we really got the idea of wanting to incorporate music and making it sort of a music-driven show, which we had not done with the first two Sonic series. So we concocted this idea of the band and of Sonic Underground.
Everything's recharged.
There'd been certainly a precedent of some shows having great success. I think the one that influenced us the most, frankly, was Alvin and the Chipmunks, which we had produced for a while, and was a hugely successful show, and it had a song in every show. And while the tone was different, the tone of the series was a different kind of tone, we still thought, why not take this formula of a song and the fact that the stars are a band and make it a little darker and a little more rock-oriented.
Never give up. Never give up the fight. Never give up. Never give up the fight.
We had a core development team that consisted of Andy Hayward, Mike Maliani, a staff writer named Phil Harnage, and me. And the four of us would get together and bounce ideas around. The germ of the idea would often come from Andy, to be honest, of what series to do next. The idea of doing a Sonic series with a band and doing music may have come from Andy. Very well probably did come from Andy. And then we'd all get together and just throw around ideas for an origin story and what the lore would be, what the backstory, who the characters would be, how we were going to structure it. And a lot of this we would do in meetings, and then oftentimes Phil Harnage would go off and write the Bible, what we would call a series Bible, which is a very extensive document kind of describing all the characters, the tone of the series. It's basically an instruction manual to writers. So if a writer was going to write a series, you would hand him this document called the Bible, and that would give the writer the information they needed to structure a story and to write a script. And then we'd often do a pilot script, because that's what really fleshes out the concepts of the Bible. The Bible can be a little abstract until you really see it come to life. And simultaneously, we'd be creating the art and the designs.
Triplets born, the throne awaits. A seer warns of a deadly fate. Give up your children, separate. Bide your time, lie in wait.
The way we choose songs is, at least title songs for series, is we have several composers submit audition songs on spec. And so I just got mine thrown into the pile without anybody knowing it was mine. And I was usually one of those people making the decision, but I found a way to abstain in this case because I really wanted it to just compete fairly with the other submissions. And it was picked. It was chosen, and that was a real, very gratifying to me. I'm probably the only songwriter in the world that was delighted when I finally saw Sonic Underground show up as a song on Napster. The fact that people were actually online wanting to trade my song, to me, since I wasn't making my living as a songwriter, it was a real thrill for me to see my song being stolen on Napster. The title Sonic Underground we really liked a lot because it sort of conjured up like the Velvet Underground, or it had the feeling of a band, and it had kind of a double meaning that also fit very much the plot of the story and the sort of overall what we would call the series franchise, which simply means the story of the series was about these characters having to be literally, in the underground, but at the same time it really sounded like a band name too. It sounded very much like a band name. So I didn't think of that title. I can't take credit for it, but we all really latched onto the title right away. Yeah, I think it was Andy Hayward that got the idea to use Jaleel. He was huge as Urkel during this time. I mean, he was just a big star on ABC, and we knew we were going to pitch the show to ABC, the original show, and we thought the idea of packaging Jaleel in that would make it more appealing, and certainly it was. The wonderful thing was Jaleel turned out to be the antithesis of what I described as celebrities whose voices don't carry. He was a fantastic voice actor. His voice was wonderful, but more than that, he was just personally a gem to work with. We really all bonded with Jaleel. He was so gracious and bright, professional, not a snob bone in his body, but he wasn't really a singer. And so we had to find a way to sort of transition that and deal with that, which is done very commonly, by the way. There's nothing unusual when you have actors that don't sing and you need a song, especially in animation when they're not on screen. So what would happen is Pic's first version of the song would have him singing, because he's a great singer, and he would do that because he was available and he didn't have to pay himself. To my knowledge, he didn't have to pay himself. And so he'd do the demos, we'd approve the songs, make sure everybody was happy with what the song was, and then for the official version, it was part of Pic's job to go out and contract real singers to go out and actually sing these as close to the voice of Jaleel that the singers could get. So that was sort of part of Pic's job description, was to go deal with that. But there was always that first version of the song where he sang it, and he would do overdubs and things like that. He would do lots of voices. He's a great harmony singer. When you're producing a series such as Sonic Underground, you never really know how many seasons you're going to get. In other words, you've completely finished the scripts on the first season before the show's even gone on the air. So it's very rare in animation for you to end something because you don't know if you're going to order more or do more. I mean, it's just you're sort of cutting off your own nose. If you write an ending on episode 26 and then a miracle happens and somebody wants another 26, you've ended it. So there was really never any thought given to writing sort of a finale episode. I'm hard-pressed to think of any animated series where they've had a final episode or a finale that way because of the production situation. I really loved all three of the Sonic series. I mean, they were amongst my favorite series of the many that we did at Deke, and I was probably involved with 40 or 50 series at Deke, and certainly the Sonics all stand out for me, but I have a particular affinity for Sonic Underground simply because of the song.
Sonic